Everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thanks for stopping by. I'm Carol and I'm glad to have you here. Please consider subscribing. So today we're going to talk about canning some more. The last video I uploaded, I talked about 10 things every home canner should know. So if you haven't checked out that video, you might want to do that. It's great for beginners, also some great reminders for those of us who are seasoned canners. But today I want to talk about some of the most frustrating and common problems that we have in canning and how to fix them. Now, I get comments and messages from you guys all the time asking me questions or sharing your problems. So that was one of the reasons, or one of the things that prompted this video. I figured if a few people are having the problem, others will be having it and may have the same question. So I just wanted to kind of go over things that are common in canning issues that maybe I can help you prevent them from happening or help you to be a little more less frustrated by them. So the first thing we're going to talk about is fruit float. And fruit float just refers to your fruit floating to the top of your jar. This is a can of peach pie filling without the thickener in it that I canned up. Last year I did a video on this for you guys, and as you can tell, peaches are notorious for floating, but I get the question, is it safe to eat and what can I do to prevent that? Yes, it is safe to eat them. They're floating because they still have, it's the air inside of the fruit that causes it to float to the top of your liquid. But there are a couple things that we can do to help prevent that from happening. Again, you can't always eliminate it fully, but there are things that you can do to help it out somewhat or lessen it happening to your jars. So I guess the first thing you need to know that it's just trapped air inside of the fruit. Some fruit contains more air than others, so some fruits tend to float more than others do. Peaches are notorious for it. But one of the things that we can do to help prevent it is to hot pack them instead of raw packing them. Now, raw packing just refers to putting your product in your jar and covering it with liquid, and then you process them that way. And some fruits can be done that way. Others, the guidelines state that we should hot pack them, and even in cases where you have the option to raw pack, if they give you the option to hot pack, it's probably a better idea to hot pack, because when you heat the fruit, it helps to release some of the air inside of the fruit, and it helps to decrease the chances of it floating to the top. Again, you can't always prevent it fully, but that's one thing that you can do to help prevent it is hot packing instead of raw packing. The other thing, you want to make sure that you've released air bubbles or debubbled your jars correctly. Debubbling refers to using a plastic butter knife, a chopstick, or a debubbling tool to release air bubbles inside of your jar. So make sure you're doing that. And also packing your fruit as tightly as possible without crushing it will also help to prevent it. So those are just some tips on it, but it is still safe to consume. It's not really a problem with quality. It just kind of looks weird when your fruit is floating to the top of your jar instead of being distributed equally throughout the jar from the top to the bottom. The second common problem that we encounter is siphoning, and siphoning just refers to liquid loss from your jars. So during the canning process, you can have some of the liquid that is inside of your jar leak out, and when you take your jars out, you'll see that the liquid is not where you started. It is a common problem, and the only time that it is a safety issue is if you have less than half of your jar with your product covered in liquid. Meaning, if my jar was less than half of the liquid was still left in my jar after processing, if it's less than half, then that's considered unsafe to store on your shelf. You should eat it sooner rather than later. So make sure you examine your jars prior to storing them. So as long as you have liquid at least halfway up your jar after you have processed a product, it is still safe to store on your shelf. But there are some things that we can do to help lessen or prevent siphoning. One of the things is and I talk about this a lot in my videos, is you do not want quick temperature fluctuations in your canner. So for example, if you are pressure canning and your weight is jiggling really vigorously and you need to decrease your temperature, you don't want to do it really fast. You want to slowly decrease the temperature until you adjust to the proper rocking of your weight instead of doing it quickly. Doing it quickly does contribute to siphoning. Another thing is not debubbling your jars prior to canning them. And the other thing that you can do to help prevent it is to let your jars sit a little bit longer in the canner after your processing time is done. So giving them an extra 10 to 15 minutes in your canner before taking them out also helps to prevent with siphoning from happening. But just a caution on that, you don't want them to sit too long. You don't want them sitting for a long period of time in the canner, just an extra 10 or 15 minutes. If you prolong it and let your jars sit too long in your canner, something called flat sour can happen, and then your food is unsafe. So you don't want to leave them like overnight or hours in the canner after processing, but an extra 10 to 15 minutes will help prevent some siphoning from happening in your jars. And again, as long as you have at least half of the liquid in your jar when you are done, you are good. It's totally safe to store them on a shelf. Number 3 is your jars not sealing. Now, there are a number of factors to this. One is you didn't wipe the rim of your jar very well before placing the lid on top of the jar. I talk about this in my videos. I always use a paper towel dipped in white vinegar to clean the rims of my jars prior to putting the lid on. That makes sure that they're nice and clean. There's not anything that's going to interfere with a good seal. A chip or a crack around the edge of your jar can prevent them from not sealing. Incorrect headspace can be a problem, so make sure you're using the proper headspace for whatever product it is that you are jarring up. And obviously a defective lid, so make sure you check your lids after you prep them for your canning project. Make sure that they are in good condition. Make sure you are not using a lid that has already been used. The lids that we use these days are only meant for a one-time use for a canning project, so make sure you're not reusing lids. That can cause a seal failure as well. The other thing, and this is important, we have a lot of manufacturers making lids for us now, and the prep for the lids from different manufacturers can be different. So make sure you read the prep that the manufacturer is recommending for the lids. For example, ball lids do not require us to simmer them prior to using them. So if you do simmer them, they're not going to seal properly. On the flip side of that, for jars, they do require you to simmer the lids to get the sealing compound to work properly. So make sure you are aware of that. Okay, number 4, cloudy liquid. So sometimes the liquid inside of our jars can appear cloudy. Typically that's due to starch. If you can potatoes or beans and your liquid gets cloudy, that's going to be due to starch from the beans and from the potatoes. A way that you can help to eliminate some of the cloudiness is to make sure you rinse your beans really well and rinse your potatoes really well. If you are canning russets in particular, they are a starchy potato. If you soak them and rinse them a few times, that will help prevent the liquid that you're canning them in from turning kind of cloudy. If you are experiencing cloudiness in your water that you're canning in, that can be due to the minerals in our water. Times those minerals can even collect on the outside of the jar, making the jar appear cloudy from the outside. And I talk about this in most of my videos. A way to prevent that from happening is to add a little bit of vinegar to your canning water prior to starting the canning process. So make sure you keep that in mind. Those are a couple ways to prevent cloudiness in your jars and on the outside of your jars. If you do end up with hard water buildup on the outside of your jars, you can always use like Dawn dish soap and some vinegar and take a dishcloth, and you can remove it after the fact if you don't put vinegar in your water during the canning process. Number 5, darkened food. If you experience siphoning, the product above the water line will darken over time. It's not that it's unsafe to consume, it just doesn't look as appetizing as it would if it was completely covered in liquid. So make sure that when you are packing your jars that your product is submerged in whatever liquid you're canning in, number 1. Number 2, if you do have siphoning that happens, just know whatever product is above the liquid line, that's going to darken sooner rather than later. And again, it's not unsafe, it just doesn't look as appetizing as what is underneath there. Too much air inside of your jar can cause your product to darken, so make sure that you are using proper headspace and debubbling. Those things are important in preventing our product from darkening inside the jar. Again, as long as you follow proper canning guidelines, what's the product inside of your jar, what you've canned is safe to consume even though it's darkened. It may even darken over time. For example, strawberries are notorious for turning darker as they sit on your shelf. If you keep things for a longer period of time than the 18 months that's recommended, they will start to darken. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's gone bad as long as you've followed proper canning guidelines. It just means that the quality is not the same. But just be aware that strawberries are a big one that will darken over time. So just know that that's a possibility. Mushy pickles. So a few things can help. Well, a few things cause mushy pickles. Over processing, using old cucumbers, using the wrong type of cucumber, all those things can contribute to having mushy pickles. So make sure you're using really fresh produce and that you're processing them properly. You're not over processing them, but you're processing them for the proper amount of time. Soaking your pickles in ice water prior to pickling them can help with the crispiness. Using Pickle Crisp can also help keep your pickles crisp in the jar. But if they're mushy, that's because you have not prepped them properly prior to canning them up. Broken jars. That usually happens due to thermal shock. So for example, if you take boiling stock and you put it in a jar that is cold, you have a risk of thermal shock happening, meaning that your jar will crack. The different temperatures from the liquid to the cold jar, the hot liquid to the cold jar, can cause the jar to crack or break. That is one factor. Jars touching inside of the canner can also be another factor, so make sure you're not overfilling your canner with too many jars when you put them inside of there. Kind of leave a little bit of space in between your jars. That will help to prevent it from happening, and make sure your jars are not touching the side of your canner. That helps. But just know that during the canning process, as the water is boiling inside there, they are going to move around a little bit, so you are going to hear them clank up against each other, but you don't want to put too many jars in there, and you want to keep them separated as much as possible. And then the last problem that is quite common are our lids buckling. I've had many of you contact me and make comments about that. A couple of things. Well, that is usually due to putting the band on, screwing the band on too tight. So always, like again, I've said before, always make sure that you check with the manufacturer's instructions for your lids. But most of the time, they just want us to tighten it to fingertip tight or finger tight, meaning that we just want to tighten the band just until we feel a little bit of resistance. You don't want to go beyond that, really. When the band is put on too tight, it will cause your lid to buckle, and it will prevent your jar from getting a good seal. So just keep in mind, fingertip tight or finger tight is really the goal, and we don't want to over tighten it. So anyway, guys, I hope that this video was helpful to those of you who have had questions regarding some common canning issues that we have. If you have other problems that you've been having or experiencing with your canning projects, leave me a comment in the comment section. If there are other ways that I can help you, leave me a comment and I will try to include the information in a future video. Anyway, thanks so much for coming along with me today. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day and I will see you next time. Take care.